Hello and welcome to another edition of Closed Mode, the Enterprise Sales Show. I'm Brian Dietmeyer, CEO of Close Strong AI, the home of precision guided selling. And today I'm lucky to be here with Nicole Tamms from beautiful Long Beach, California, home of many mid-century modern homes, which we're both fond of, I found out. But Nicole's got a lot of experience in product marketing, more than 15 years of global product marketing expertise, which is why she's here today. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
So, yeah, we were chatting last week, and I loved this conversation we were having about like leveraging product marketing and improving the relationship between sales and product marketing. So I wanted to pursue that today a little bit. And you spoke a little bit about like potential areas of friction between sales and product marketing. Can you describe some of that from a product marketing perspective?
Yeah, for sure. So I really think that a lot of the potential conflict stems from a lack of understanding of what product marketing actually does. And so, you know, a lot of organizations have product marketing as part of the marketing team. And so it's really difficult to differentiate between those product marketers and those who are doing the actual marketing execution. And typically, I call those doing the execution corporate marketing. A lot of organizations are corporate marketing. But what product marketing really does is it represents the face of the product to the market. So everything that product marketing does, building a go-to-market plan, building content online, building the assets that sales uses to promote product, as well as sales tools and enablement and things of that nature, that is all built by product marketing. And, you know, it's not limited to leads. So when reps come to product marketing and say, I need more leads, I need better leads, that is not necessarily what product marketing does. And so there's a little bit of a conflict or a misinterpretation of what actually the product marketer's function is. But, you know, I feel like the relationship between sales and product marketing is really needs to be a symbiotic one, a very mutually beneficial one, because the closer product marketing is with sales, the result of that ends up being better targeting, better leads, and more. And so with the relationship there and building on that relationship, the communication between sales and product marketing leads to better go-to-markets, better content, better assets, and better sales tools.
You know, I wonder, it occurs to me, Nicole, that there's been so much change kind of in the overall marketplace, both the way buyers are buying. We're in a different space of demand even in the marketplace than we were several years ago. And it makes me wonder, like, do we as sellers need more and different things given changes in the marketplace? And I wonder if you have a perspective on that. Like, how is there an evolution that is occurring or should be occurring?
Yeah, I think it really amplifies the need for a close relationship between sales and product marketing. And there is messaging that product marketing needs to produce at new levels. So, for example, new personas are introduced into the sales cycle. And that requires additional insight that product marketers need to study, those new personas to come up with those types of new messages that can then be, sales can be enabled on. So decision makers and users and different types of users are all different types of personas that product marketing needs to study and build content around. So I think, you know, it really expands the opportunity for sales to become really close to that product marketer in communication, and letting us as a product marketer know, oh hey, you know, I'm seeing a lot more of this job function in my accounts being decision makers on the solutions that I'm selling. I need more information on that persona. I need, deep dive on that, and that kind of brings awareness to the product marketer so that we can then build a lot more targeted messaging for
And how
personas.
and Nicole, how formal is that sort of information flow between sales and product marketing, kind of both ways, right? Is that more happenstance, or are these like monthly standing meetings? Hey, how we all doing? How would you describe sort of best case scenario for that communication flow?
Well, I think that it needs to be an informal. Sales reps need to feel comfortable enough to have those informal conversations. And I feel like, yeah, there's got to be set meetings, set enablement sessions, for example, leading up to a launch or something like that. But I think where the real meat comes into the conversation is going to be an informal, open dialogue where
Yeah.
a rep just calls up the product marketer or feels comfortable enough to call up that product marketer. But, even expanding upon the the kind of buyer's journey we were talking about a little bit,
Yeah.
I see a lot of product-led motions coming into play these days, as opposed to sales-led motions when it comes to business strategy. And when there's a product-led motion that's prevalent in an organization, a lot of times the role of sales is being downplayed, and they're focusing on building the product and the marketing within the product and having the product do a lot of that. I guess you can say the product is going viral within organizations because the product is marketing itself in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that the need for those folks in maybe sales development roles or just rep roles, that makes it the product-led motion makes it crucial for them to know the message and understand the value of the solutions even more and be even closer to the product marketing team.
Yeah. That it makes sense. And one of the things you mentioned when we were chatting a few days ago was this notion of like product marketing riding along on a sales call. Whether that means sitting in on a Zoom call or whatever. And yeah, can you talk about sort of the importance of that and the structure of that?
Yeah. So from my point of view, having a product marketing partner to come in with you on a sales call really can add depth to the conversation. And not only does it add depth to the conversation through different, I guess, positioning, really honing in on the value and making sure that different opportunities are brought up in the conversation. For example, things like participating in the community for the customer, and even reference opportunities. So different ways that the potential customer or customer can participate in community and in reference activity with the organization that is that they're interested in
Yeah.
purchasing.
It makes It makes so much sense, Nicole, because it's interesting that a couple days ago, my CTO asked me, he said, can I sit in on a demo that you're doing? And I understand my CTO is not my product marketing guy, but when he said that, I thought it was brilliant because he wanted to hear the pitch, and make that connection to the technology, which I thought was pretty cool. We talked a little bit about the relationship between product marketing and sales enablement, and then we even went a level deeper about the connection to sales training methodology. And to me, you had an interesting insight on that. So what's the connection between product marketing and down to that tactical level of, a new methodology is being rolled out?
Yeah. In one of my previous companies, we were very close to the sales organization, and we were invited to join as a product marketing group. We were invited to join the trainings that the sales organization was participating in. And the value of that is that all of our marketing and all of the enablement we produce, all of the sales tools that we produce, were able to be modified to fit that sales methodology.
Yeah.
So whether it's something like challenger sale or corporate visions or things of that nature,
Yeah.
we were able to fit what we were producing into that methodology. And that's so critical because, that's what the sales team's going to market with. And I just found learning what they were learning really informative and interesting and, insightful into, what they're experiencing, and allows me to adapt to that.
Yeah, I love that idea just because it connects things at a tactical, at a deal level. And it seemed to me when we were talking that we could even take that a step further, and rather than like sitting in on the class, even before the class, understanding the methodology and saying what can we add and integrate, during the actual event. It makes so much more sense to move from sort of that step by step, generic methodology that's rolled out to everybody, and integrating some of the product marketing stuff, right into it. That makes so much sense to me. So so if we jump up a level to sales enablement in general, like what is the as a stakeholder of yours, I would say, if you're in product marketing, I would say sales enablement is probably a stakeholder. Are there other areas, like how high is that integration, or how deep is that integration, or is it more of just a touch point every now and then?
So when we're talking about doing sales enablement and working within that methodology, that, I mean, we're able to not only understand what the methodology is, but also enable the reps within that framework. So whatever they're learning, when we're doing that enablement, it'll resonate better because
Yeah.
it's within that framework that they've been introduced to already and that they're already working within.
It also leads me to ask the question about sales engineers. I did a podcast with a gentleman who led sales engineering, the whole technical side of selling. And what's that? I imagine that's an important connection for product marketing as well.
Oh, absolutely. So sales engineers are extremely helpful in the product marketing scope because a lot of times product marketers don't have that technical depth. And when I'm, for example, writing a technical brief, I am putting together a piece that's going to go to technical people. And so the advice and the input and the value that a pre-sales organization or engineer or manager would provide would be, ensuring that it is accurate and
Yeah.
making sure that I am speaking in the customer's language. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even on site, I've had when I've gone on site with sales reps, we've had an SC in the room who would do the demo and the technical, answer the technical questions. So I feel like I've been very fortunate to have wonderful pre-sales organizations that I've worked with who have really been extremely helpful in helping me understand the technology as well as the perspective of the.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. This has been so helpful, and one of the things that really jumps out is just the importance of that, even increasing that symbiotic relationship and increasing the communication, and whether it's the sales training or the SEs or ride-alongs, all of the demos, all that sort of stuff that yeah, it makes complete sense, and I really appreciate it. You've been super generous with your time and with your ideas, and this is a subject we haven't discussed before. So, I think of this podcast as sort of this body of knowledge where people who want to know about stuff can come to, and I really, really appreciate you adding your expertise to this.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed our time together.